Welcome to a new episode of the Wild Voices podcast from Loro, Parque. Look, there are stories that aren't about politics. They're about responsibility, consistency, and commitment to animals. In Antibes, France, two orcas, Wiki and Keijo, have been in a closed park for over a year, specifically at Maryland. With no activity, no clear direction, and in facilities that are deteriorating as time goes by. While the public debate is full of headlines, promises of sanctuaries, and contradictory administrative decisions, there's one person who, from the start, has offered a concrete, immediate, and viable solution. Not out of political interest, and I can assure you of that, nor due to media pressure, but out of conviction. Today, we're talking to Wolfgang Kiessling, the founder of the Loro Parque group, a man who spent over 50 years dedicating his life to animals and who maintains that his only priority is to prevent Wiki and Keijo from becoming victims of indecision. Mr. Kiessling, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
I know you've been very concerned for a long time about the issue of these two orcas in France. Beyond the reports and the debates, Mr. Kiessling, how are you personally experiencing the situation of these two orcas in France?
Well, I find it incredible that certain associations, or I'd call them marketing companies, manage to raise millions and use this money, instead of saving animals and improving their lives, to destroy facilities, to destroy the lives of animals, and they're raising money hand over fist. As much as they want, they can afford to let the CEO, that's to say the managing director, collect a salary of up to $1,200,000 a year. They can afford to run advertising campaigns that are so expensive and so impressive that they're on every television channel. And all they achieve is, through lies, destroying companies and, naturally, the lives of animals. I have a very clear example, which is Peter. Peter has a shelter, an animal shelter in North America. There they pick up animals, they have lorries with people who take, even from people's porches, dogs and cats, and take them to their shelter just to kill them. Kill them. A dog that arrives at this shelter is lucky if it survives 48 hours.
Terrible.
These are people with such a loud and powerful voice, politicians really listen to them. Now, we have a very specific example. French politicians were promised that if they closed the park in Antibes, Maryland, the animals would be taken, the orcas and the dolphins, and these animals would be placed in sanctuaries. What a surprise! The business is closed. A business that had 1,200,000 visitors. You must imagine the scale, what this business did for the province, for tourism, for the people who visited it. It's closed. Right. Now, for a year, it's been closed. No shows are held, the pools are deteriorating, the animals are there, with a huge effort from the owner to keep them alive, and French politicians realise that sanctuaries don't exist.
That's true.
That there isn't even one. So, neither for the dolphins nor for the orcas are there solutions. Naturally, in the opinion of these companies, which I'd call marketing companies, because this is massive marketing, it's a business, a gold mine. You put nothing in and you make money galore. But those businesses have promised to save the animals, and now the animals have been there for a year and they're looking for a way out. Right. Leave me. If I have 4 orcas here for my visitors, and these orcas give a presentation that demonstrates what they also do in the wild, we do not put on a show. Absolutely not. Instead, we simply present the orcas as they naturally are, allowing people to observe their true behaviours and personalities. We want our visitors to see the orcas behaving just as they would in their natural environment, without any tricks or performances, just their genuine natural selves. Whether we have 4 or we have 6. Do you think we'll have one more visitor?
I can assure you,
Of course not. Of course we don't. But each orca, this is well known, these activists know it too, each orca costs 550,000 euros a year. That is to say, I'm offering to help now by taking the animals, knowing that this will cost me more than what I'm paying now. I'd do it gladly. I'd do it willingly. Do you know why? I want to save these two animals. I'm absolutely sure that if they stay in this atmosphere of paralysis with pools that have algae that's already 50 or 60 centimetres long, even a metre in some, they can't live in here much longer. That's right, believe they. Business? No. Help? Yes. Loro Parque created the Loro Parque Foundation in '94. To date, we've spent 30 million on projects, meaning we've written checks and sent them to these projects.
That's right.
Over time, we have saved 12 species of parrots. Sometimes alone, sometimes sharing the work with other NGOs, with other dummers.
Organisations, such as companies and charities.
And in the Canaries, we've saved 6 species of snails. I'd like one of those people shouting so loudly about the orcas suffering at Loro Parque to show me they've done as much for animals as Loro Parque and I have in my life. And I guarantee you they will be very, very quiet.
I also wanted to ask you, Mr. Kiessling, taking advantage of your reference, because I want to focus a bit on the orcas, if you don't mind, about how people talk about the activists' business, which provides no solutions. You've provided solutions on many occasions, and there's much talk about the marine sanctuaries you referred to earlier, Mr. Kiessling. It must be said that marine sanctuaries don't exist. There isn't a single sanctuary in the world. What activists have done on many occasions is raise funds for sites that ultimately never came to fruition. Regarding these two orcas, Mr. Kiessling, various organisations have also announced that a sanctuary was going to be created in Nova Scotia, Canada. In the end, the French government is in a rather difficult position because it's realising what the scientific world and Loro Parque were already saying, that marine sanctuaries are one of the activists' great scams, Mr. Kiessling.
But look, we have the story of Keiko, who was the Willy from the film Free Willy.
Correct.
Whom the activists had taken to Iceland. In Iceland, they had built a sanctuary. What was this sanctuary? It was a pool made of netting inside the bay. Smaller than our pools.
Much smaller.
They released him after X number of years, training him to find his own food, which he never learnt. They released him, and he died a few months later.
Yeah.
There's a book that explains it all very, very well, called Killing Kiko.
Yeah.
But there's also another book as well that actually reports in detail on the killing of dogs by Peter.
Great.
And that book is available, I believe, on Amazon, and it's an interesting read. But one thing is certain, Nova Scotia is no good. It's not ready, nor have conditions been discussed with the bay owners, nor do they agree to do it, nor is the water quality suitable for this, and one must consider. In case they are put there, the animals would have to be confined again in something much smaller than a bay, for example, to be monitored, to get their food on time, to have all the infrastructure that must be set up. It's so impressive that I'd say just at a glance that, yes, an annual donation of 20 million cannot be maintained.
That's per year. That's just for starters.
Exactly.
That's for starters.
Exactly. What they want is outrageous. And now, what worries me a great deal is that orcas, as big and as strong and as beautiful as they are,
It's true.
they are fragile. They can't be left there much longer.
No, because too much time has passed already. More than a year and a half, especially since here at Loro Parque we have A soft spot for one of our orcas, Morgan, with a spectacular story. A practically dying orca 15 years ago, found stranded on the Dutch coast. A story you fought hard for, and finally the orca came here.
And it's known now that she's deaf, yet activists want to put her in a sanctuary that doesn't exist. Well, here you can see a happy animal. I invite you to come here and see the animals. You see animals that are happy with their trainers, with their handling, how they move. They are happy with the treatment here. They get the best nutrition, they get the best medical care, they get water that they can't find in the sea.
It's too clean, the lab people say. It's too clean, too good even.
It's 13 degrees cold. I mean, not like in Antibes where the water follows the temperature. We have a facility here, by the way, powered by our photovoltaic systems and wind turbine.
Correct.
Ecologically. We mustn't forget that Loro Parque has made an effort in every sense, also to be a showcase, an example. In ecology, the only company in Europe.
We are also recognised nationally and internationally with all the certifications and accreditations one can have. I believe, Mr. Kiessling, that one couldn't have more. Loro Parque has absolutely everything.
Well, you never have everything, and you're never satisfied. Recognition is always welcome, one way or another, but I don't know of any company that can show more certifications, especially regarding animal welfare and so on. As an aside, a few years ago we were reported by PETA for animal abuse. Can you imagine a complaint reaching the courts, and especially the police, seeing that Loro Parque mistreats its animals? This was a bombshell. It was terrible. And Soprona in Madrid immediately put together a team of 4 or 5 professionals who understood the subject, and they were here the next day to inspect our facilities. They gave us the go-ahead in every sense. They confirmed the welfare of the animals. Those are things that you have to do when you have a company that is constantly attacked by people who don't know, who don't understand, who work only to make money and use that money.
And who have never been to Loro Parque, because there are many people who think one way, and when they come to Loro Parque, which is open door and 100% transparent, they leave here with a completely different idea of the work done at Loro Parque. Mr. Kiessling, returning to the subject of the 2 orcas, next week there is a very important meeting in France where it is very possible that the future of these 2 orcas will be decided, and I think it is also very important that people can hear that you have provided solutions from the start, unlike other people who have only put obstacles in the way. If next week, or if they finally authorise those animals to come to Loro Parque, what would happen, Mr. Kiessling?
Well, I will take charge of these animals. That is to say, in the future, the costs of maintaining them will be mine. We are going to incorporate them. We are also going to bring some trainers from France. In other words, this is truly a help that I could give to the 2 animals who, if they don't come here, I see it as very, very bad for them.
Mr. Kiessling, to finish, for those people who doubt that a zoological park like Loro Parque can be the best option today for these animals, what would you say to them?
Well, I can't free them from their doubts, but I think no one truly doubts once they come to see what we have. Look, I have such a beautiful experience that I remember all the time. A few weeks ago, I was in front of the glass, behind me the large pool with the orcas, given an interview. And while I am talking to the person who is interviewing me, there are Morgan and Tenno who have nothing better to do than to give me a shower. It's true, it's true.
It's true.
You've seen it, haven't you?
Yes.
You were.
With me, if you like.
These are moments where you feel like you can actually talk to them. Besides this, Loro Parque, in its research, I don't know if you're aware that we've been funding CISR for, I believe, 20 years. It's
Straight to Gibraltar.
Of Gibraltar, the orcas that are now attacking the boats.
Correct.
It's us who fund the scientists who are dealing with this issue. I don't know if you know that we're monitoring Macaronesia, a project I've been pushing since '88, which I set up with Petra Dimer, who was the scientist and the defender of whales and orcas in Germany. We set this up, and now we're protecting, or rather studying, Macaronesia. A huge undertaking where we've already invested several millions. And the Canary Islands are with us, the government. We go 50-50. In other words, a very important piece of work.
Very important work indeed, like the Can-Bio project, as our followers already know, which we've discussed with Rafa Zamora and Javier Almunia too. The Can-Bio project, together with the Canary Islands government and the 2 Canarian universities, and also led by the Loro Parque Foundation.
And we have... Just right next to this room, we actually have a wonderful library, a place where you can see with your own eyes the thousands and thousands of detailed reports that we've produced over the years from Loro Parque, all published in respected scientific journals, specifically about parrots and their behaviour. It's a fantastic resource for anyone interested in learning more about these fascinating birds. We have a facility here, the Loro Parque Foundation, which has about 5,000 parrots, and this is an impressive gene reservoir.
I call it Noah's Ark, Mr. Kiessling.
Yes, it is a Noah's Ark. In a way. Anyway, we're also proving that it's a Noah's Ark. For example, the Lear's macaw, which at the beginning of this century was down to about 80 or 90 birds. Nowadays, we're at 1,500 to 2,000, something like that. And Loro Parque has received 2 pairs from the Brazilian government. 2 pairs in safekeeping, in case there's a disaster there one day, like a virus or something that kills them off, so there's a reserve.
Is guarantee.
We've bred more than 45 of these. We've returned 20 or 21 to Brazil. 10 of these are already flying freely again in the Caatinga. And from those 10, we have 5 chicks that were born there in the wild. This is education. This is helping the name one activist who has done even 5% of what we do.
I don't know of any. And we could spend many hours talking with you about so many things. Wolfgang Kiessling, president and founder of the Loro Parque Group, it's been a pleasure as always to have you here on the Wild Voices podcast. Thank you very much.
Raoul, I hope that what we've discussed is heard by someone who makes decisions in France. Okay, for the 2 animals. I hope they come here because, in my opinion, it's the only solution that exists for them.
Mr. Kiessling, thank you very much.
Thank you.